Hello everybody and welcome back. As you can tell, today is a very, very special day. We are reviewing the 2024 Mercedes-AMG GT 63. And as always, I am your host Chase Bierenkoven, and this is the Overrun. So it's been a few years since we've seen an AMG GT. That's because in 2021, Mercedes decided to take a few years off to work on a new generation. This obviously is that new generation, and it is bigger, wider, and longer than the outgoing AMG GT from a few years ago. There's a new trim structure, only two, and you can have any engine you want as long as it's a big fat V8. And we will talk about that in just a moment, but there are a couple other things you need to know about this Grand Touring supercar before we do. There's some clever chassis technology like rear wheel steering and hydraulic anti-roll systems, all of the drive modes you could ever want, and a few other bits and pieces that are also carried over from the brand new Mercedes SL. And we are going to talk about all of that today, plus whether or not this delivers on the luxury Grand Touring supercar experience that AMG and Mercedes promise with this vehicle. Sitting under this extremely long hood, as with any AMG, is a hand-built, in this case, 4-liter twin-turbo V8 motor. And this motor makes 577 horsepower and 590 pounds-feet of torque. Now that's in the GT63. There's also a lesser GT53, and that makes 470 horsepower. But of course, if you have AMG GT money, go for it. Get the big power. And all of that power is sent to all four wheels as standard, regardless of trim. And that's a very important factor in the way that the new AMG GT drives. And another very important factor to this car's overall AMG-ness is the fact that 100% of that torque can be sent that away through an electronic limited slip differential to the rear wheels. And all of that is accomplished via a very excellent, very crispy shifting 9-speed dual clutch automatic transmission. And there is also another thing that you should know, and it's kind of an essential option on this car. This car does not come with nose lift as standard. Obviously, you should order that because it raises the front nose by up to 1.2 inches so that when you're pulling into your Beverly Hills mansion, you don't scuff the front of this very pretty car.
Hi guys, Future Chase here again. Small problem with our audio. It's probably going to be a little bit jarring. We just had a little bit of an issue with one of our receivers and it switched to the phone audio. So sorry in advance. Please try and ignore it because we love this video. We're very happy with the product and we hope you like it too. Thanks, bye.
Let's talk looks, because the AMG GT is kind of an eyeful. It's a really pretty car, a stunning design with a lot going on. First, there is, of course, this optional paint. It's actually pretty reasonable. It's a Hyper Magno Blue. It's about $3,000. It's a matte finish, and I generally am not a fan of matte paint, but I just think that this looks really, really good on this car. There's also some more broad, non-specification specific AMG things. There's, of course, the iconic Panamericana grille, the AMG badging, and this thing down here, which is a variable front splitter. It's actually controlled either via the drive modes, of course, depending on which mode you're on, it gets more aggressive, or by you, the driver. If for whatever reason you want more downforce at the front end, well, at the push of a button, either in the touchscreen or on the steering wheel, we'll show you in a moment, it will lower a little bit and give you a little bit more rake at the front angle so that you can get a little more front downforce at lower speeds. It's part of the AMG Aerodynamics package, which is like, I think, $2,850, and also comes with the fixed rear wing. I'll show you at the back in a moment. But for now, let's get around the side because there's a lot more to show you. There is, of course, the massive, massive expanse that is this front hood. Now that we're in profile, hopefully you can see it and take it in. It's huge. It's like almost a me long. It's huge. It's ridiculous. There's also these monstrous 21-inch wheels. I love that these aren't black. We hate black wheels here on the Overrun. These aren't, and they're super cool looking, right? Black wheels suck. They're for nerds. Anyways, there's also carbon ceramic brakes. That's the big ticket item on here. $8,000+ for these huge 6-piston front brakes, and the 4-piston rear carbon ceramic brakes. Let's talk about the rest of the profile here. I love this little chrome touch up here that kind of outlines the greenhouse of the car. Again, this is a very, very beautiful shape. I think that kind of helps accentuate it, as do the other chrome touches here. There's this kind of satin chrome up here for the non-functional, unfortunately, wheel vent, the V8 bi-turbo badge with the 4MATIC Plus badge for that cool, mostly rear-wheel drive, all-wheel drive system. And now, let's get around the back because there's even more to show you. Let's start with the rear wing. We already mentioned this. Here it's gloss black. I'm not sure if you can have it in another color, but I think it looks okay in gloss black. I would prefer it be body colored, but that's just me. There's also some new lighting elements back here, and that's because this is an entirely new clean sheet design for AMG. I like these front lights. I think they're very cool looking. They have AMG like laser etched into the light housing down here, which is kind of cool. And there's these huge quad exhausts at the back with this massive, massive, massive rear diffuser. It's absolutely monstrous, and you can see that the AMG logo is etched into each of these exhaust tips individually. So on the whole, I think it's a very, very pretty, very comprehensive design, and probably my favorite piece of design work from the AMG brand at the moment. So pretty much everything in here, at least from a tech standpoint, is carried over from the new SL. I think the logic behind that there is that Mercedes is already putting all of this stuff in a relatively small coupe car, and so it makes the most sense to carry it over from a production standpoint without driving up costs. With that said, almost everything I dislike about this car has to do with this interior. Let's start with what I don't like. This. I'm just not a big fan of AMG's tech. It's just too much for me. There's too many buttons, too many settings, and not enough physical controls. I'm constantly looking around for something. I think a very good example of that is the front axle lift. If you look at the screen here, you'll see that if, let's say we're in my Android Auto, right? What happens here, like, you can scroll around and then I have to go home and then home again, and then I have to go settings. Actually, no, I've misremembered. You have to push the button here, and then you have to raise the vehicle level and wait for it to go. You can save it. A little pop-up comes up here to save it via the GPS, but it's just a lot of presses. Other than that, though, the screen is very responsive. There's a lot of menus in here for a lot of settings. All of your seat settings are up in here. You can get a massage from the seats. They're ventilated. You can adjust the lumbar to pretty much wherever you want it. You can do the same with the side bolster intensity. And then there's some heating settings. You can even automatically position the seats. I mean, this thing has it all, but we're all here for the AMG stuff. There's a ton of drive modes, all of which can be accessed via the switches on the steering wheel. I'll show you in a moment, but you can get into more detailed settings over here. Starting from left to right, there's a slippery mode, which is just the most chill mode, basically. There's also my individual mode. You can see I've got it, the drivetrain and race, the suspension as hard as it'll go, and the AMG dynamics just a little bit switched on. Now those AMG dynamics control parameters like how hard the brake pedal is, how tight the steering angle is, and other more fine-tuned drive settings like that. You can also set what kind of transmission you want. Here I have it in manual instead of automatic, of course, because I'm a purist. And then there's, of course, the exhaust settings. There's only two, loud or not, which I kind of like. You can go all the way up to master, and you can go all the way down to basic here, and you can do the same in any of these menus to adjust. And the rest of these three here are just presets for that. And then there is race mode, and that is for launch control. It's the most aggressive mode, but you'll note that you have to, again, tell it whether or not you want it to be in manual or not for race mode. And that's just about it for the drive modes here. You can also control stuff over here on the steering wheel. There are two dials here. This right one is for just simply changing the drive modes. You can get in there and change all of the modes this way. And then over here on the left, you can tab through a couple different settings. There's two to choose from. You can cycle through your combination of any of the ones I'm showing you now, split between the two. I like to have the exhaust and the transmission settings, and you can then tab them on or off with these little switches here. And then this is all just standard AMG, of course. These are all haptic controls, which I really abhor. Sometimes you'll end up hitting the back button on either side when you're driving. The steering wheel's a bit too fat. I don't love the tech in here very much. To top it off, this Burmester sound system is fine. It's just like every other Mercedes sound system. that you've ever heard. It doesn't really feel all that special. It sounds okay, all right? But the rest of this is extremely well built and feels really solid. And if you do like this tech, because of course all of this is personal preference, then, well, you like it. I just happen to not. I do have to say that all of it works very, very well. The gauge cluster is hyper customizable, and I like all of this here. There's also a panoramic sunroof overhead, but it's not a movable sunroof. It's a fixed glass roof that you must close with like a manual slide, and that is an option as well. And there are also some back seats, which we're going to show you now. So this is a Grand Touring car with back seats. So you know what we got to do. Let's find out if I can fit behind myself. I am, for reference, 5 foot, 6 foot. I'm kidding, I'm like 5'7", unfortunately. But that means that I actually may stand a decent shot of fitting back here. So you gotta pull this forward, and because it's a luxury car, you have to wait for this stupid seat to go all the way forwards. And then once it's all the way forwards, I feel like I'm gonna be able to sit down, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to close the seats. We'll find out. I kind of feel like Houdini getting into his vest here. I mean, like, not too terrible, but that's because I'm young and my knees work. As you can tell, headroom is limited. Let's find out about legroom. Oh, dude, this is dude, I'm a little scared right now. Oh, okay. I mean, it's closed. I can't really put my knees up. Like, my right knee is actually kind of like locked against the... Yeah, I can't get my knees up right. Look, you're gonna be able to fit some really small, very underage children back here and some luggage, and that's about it. But I mean, hey, there's back seats, right? Let's talk cargo space, because after all, this is supposed to be a grand touring vehicle, and you are supposed to grand tour in it. And you can, as you can see, we've got a couple bags in here for scale, and there is a lot of room thanks to the new hatchback design on the AMG GT. And most importantly, you can also hit a little switch here and drop the seats. Now, you may drop them straight into the back of your front seat, but they can fold down, which is kind of nice. And you'll be able to fit even more luggage back here. And really, if you were going away for a week or maybe even 2, you could fit a ton of luggage back here. And conceivably, if you wanted to, this could be your only car if you're willing to put up with some of the other supercar constraints. Let's rip the Band-Aid off now. The GT63 starts at $177,000. So you are in serious supercar territory. The 53, of course, is a little bit cheaper, coming in at around $136,000. But because this is Mercedes-Benz and it's a supercar, the options add up really, really, really fast. There is a grand total of $31,050 of options on this car. Some of the biggest ticket items on here that I think are worth mentioning is the nose lift, the Burmester sound system, and the aerodynamics package, which is, I believe, more than $2,000, and the carbon ceramic brakes. Those are the most expensive item on here, and in my opinion, they are worth it, but they are really expensive. They are $8,000+ for those carbon ceramic brakes. So let's talk alternatives to the AMG GT. There is, of course, the gold standard, the one that everybody gets, the most obvious choice, the one that you see in your local rich neighborhood near you, the Porsche 911 Turbo. That is, of course, all-wheel drive and a twin-turbo flat 6. You're getting 572 horsepower and 553 pounds-feet of torque from that motor, going to all 4 wheels through an 8-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission for the paltry sum of $199,000. The alternative, the bargain in the segment, and arguably the most special, is the new Corvette Z06. The Z06 uses a 5.5-liter naturally aspirated, beautiful, flat-plane crank V8 with 670 horsepower and 460 pounds-feet of torque. And that, most critically, uses an 8-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission to spin exclusively the rear wheels. Now, if you ask me, that is kind of the other idea that you could have in this segment. Mid-engine, super, super, super hyper-exotic motor, and a very special driving experience for only around $116,000. The Z06 looks like a real bargain right now. Before I get into my driving impressions on the AMG GT, I want to clarify something. No, it's not that I'm wearing different clothes and this is a different day, which of course it is. What I want to clarify is that when you own or are a steward of a car like this, there are some things that you must do. First, if you see a child on the side of the road gawking, you must reach down to this little dial here and turn it to race mode, and then rip off a couple of downshifts and nail it and peg the rev limiter. It's just a fact of life, and it's something you have to get used to doing because that's part of the supercar experience. Get ready to have a lot of gas station conversations about what you do for a living, and get ready to be photographed. Of course, the super blue paint on this doesn't help at all, but all of that should be put to the side. We have the opportunity now to do a launch, so we're gonna take it. I'm gonna tab over to the AMG Dynamics thing, and I'm gonna put the traction control in sport, and nail it. Wow! Wow! I really hope all of that noise comes across on camera. And I think that's probably a really great place to kick off my driving impression. Oh my God. Forgive me, I need a moment. First of all, let's turn the traction control back on because we are, after all, still on a public road. Okay, all right, wow. Okay, that launch, guys, is just absolutely vicious. It's crazy, it's insane. It feels really ridiculous to do that. If you've ever launched a car that pushes your eyes back, you'll know what this is like. That was really insane, man. Anyways, let's get through this. Okay. Steering. That was so cool. Anyways, steering. It's very German in the way that it steers, which is to say that there is just not a lot of steering feedback. It's fine. It gets the job done, even towards the limit. I can mostly tell what the wheels are doing, but my confidence in what this car is doing at the limit is greatly aided by the 4MATIC all-wheel drive system, which can send 100% of the torque rearward, wink wink, and that's rather fun. But it also means that the grip up here in twisties is very, 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 very confidence-inspiring, and there is a lot of room. Of course, this thing is too fast for the street. I mean, it's a friggin' supercar, man. It should be too fast for the street, and it is. If you're on too tight a road, this thing is gonna scare you. And I think that being scared is a very important part of the supercar experience. And this thing very much, as you saw during the launch, possesses the capacity to scare the shit out of you. And I think that's so fun. Plus, I mean, just listen. Come on. I mean, listen to this thing, okay? Here, I hope you can hear this and it doesn't blow out the microphone. You'll find yourself doing that a lot in traffic because it sounds good at any speed, and most importantly, this thing feels fun and feels special at pretty much any speed because of this engine. This is one of the all-time great motors. I love this thing. I love the experience that it provides, but I should probably circle back to the way it drives. The all-wheel drive system feels super neutral, and it allows you to rotate the car into a corner really beautifully, and a lot of the time I don't feel like it's flummoxed. I don't feel like it wants to understeer, despite the fact that there's differentials and engines and all of that stuff way up at the front. This thing does a very good job of staying sticky, and of course it'll get loose when you want to. You can use the dials down here on the wheel or go into the infotainment system here to dial up the AMG Dynamic system, which allows for increasingly more slip, increasingly tighter steering and things like that, and it feels really great. But the thing that I want to leave on here is just how absurdly special this car feels. This is a supercar, and it delivers on the supercar experience, from the hyper-fast dual clutch transmission to the exhaust sound. Yeah, it is a little synthetic, and there is some of it fed in through the speakers. You forget that after a few days with the car, and you just get to enjoy being this noise just washing over you and being bathed in this sound from this V8. It's such a special car. It's such a special experience. And normally I do this at the end of the video, but I want to say right now, before we wrap up the video, if you guys are watching right now, thank you so much. This is an incredible experience that I get to have as a very young man. And guys, I'm gonna cry. It's really special to me to be able to do this. So thank you guys so much. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for watching these videos and allowing Joby and I to do this. The little boy would be so happy right now. This is so cool. So thank you guys. So obviously I very much enjoyed my time in the AMG GT. It's a wonderful car to drive, and it has so much character and so much personality. But there are some things that we need to talk about very seriously before delivering some kind of verdict. This is supposed to be a Super GT, or it's AMG's take on that experience. And because of the stiff ride and the tire noise that are present while you drive, it kind of falls flat on the Grand Touring part of its job. And on top of that, the 911 Turbo is definitely going to ride better. So if you want a Grand Touring car, you kind of have to pro-con that out. Big trunk, but a little more noise, and that's definitely some math that you're gonna have to work out for yourself. There's also the theater part of this experience, because there is, of course, theater in spades in this car. It is such an emotive experience to drive, and that would be great on its own if the Z06 didn't also do that and for less money. So what does that leave us with here? Well, that leaves us with this car's AMG-ness. And it's kind of maybe a cop-out or whatever you want to call it, but the AMG experience is very, very different and very special. As a matter of fact, to my knowledge, there isn't another front-engine V8 car in this segment. The Maseratis, which used to be the other front-engine V8, have all gone to the twin-turbo Nettuno V6 engine. And that leaves this really special engine hanging out on and in front of the front axles and the experience that comes with it. And if that kind of experience, the looks, the beauty, the all-wheel drive that's really more rear-wheel drive than anything, if you like all of that, if this car looks good to you, these are supposed to be dream cars for people. This is supposed to be something that you work for your entire life, and one day, if you're very lucky, you can afford it. And so if this feels like the dream car to you, ignore all of my criticisms, because I'm not you. This car should be for you. It should be a selfish experience that you get to share with one, and maybe if they're very small, 2 or 3 more passengers. So if this thing checks those boxes for you, and you have the means, this is a very, very, very special experience. And with that, I think it's probably time to wrap this up. I want to say thank you to Mercedes for getting us behind the wheel. Again, extremely special, once in a lifetime, pinch me experience for us here at the Overrun. And it wouldn't, of course, be possible without you guys. So please help keep making that possible. Remember to like and subscribe. It's extremely important to the channel. It helps us grow. It helps us keep doing what is, bar none, the coolest job in the world. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.